Everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we're October 1st. No, we're November 1st. We're into November. Holy macaroni. Welcome to our weekly call. Okay, so I was thinking today we would just go back into some of the nuts and bolts of, I don't know about you guys, but it's been 13 years, and I feel like every day, or at least every week, I wake up and go, okay, I'm rehiring myself today.
I like that.
What does that look like? Yeah, because things change in the system, but also I'm a different person. And I have to perpetually push the reset in the way that I'm communicating with people, the way that I'm hiring myself. And so, okay, so just to start, for those of you that are more tenured, if you were to start fresh today and rehire yourself, where would you start?
And I would start with a more organized, for myself, an organized checklist of what I've already done with people, even if it's not in the order that it's presented, so that I could really just make sure that all the bases were covered.
So tell me more about that. What would be included?
It would just, I think, be all the essentials of helping somebody be successful and get started, but not necessarily be attached to the order that, because some people are really excited, but they are resistant to Voxer. And so it's like, okay, well, it's not like you have to.
Okay.
I used to think that you had to have Voxer before you could move on, but no, we're just going to move on and get them on Voxer when they're ready.
So what's interesting, I feel like I'm asking a different question. I'm hearing what you're hearing. So I think what you heard me ask is, if you were onboarding someone, what would that look like? What I'm asking for you yourself, if you were to rehire yourself as a person, not thinking about team members, if you were to rehire yourself today, what would it look like in regard to how you started? What would you do personally in regard to who you're going to reach out to, what that's going to look like? Denise, I see your hand, but I want to see if Kirsten, would your answer change at all?
You mean if I were a brand new team member?
Correct. So my question is, you were a brand new team member. You are just starting today. What would that look like for you? Like for me, I don't want to put anything.
Okay, well, I think my answer would essentially be the same. I love checklists, and if a checklist were to be sent to me saying, this is, as a new team member, this is what we hope to get you through. You can totally take it at your own pace, but I like really clear guidelines and knowing that there's a pathway. So I think the answer wouldn't really be that different.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what you're looking for is a checklist that would look like, here's how you start, here's how you reach out to people, here's how you find things, here's how you reach out to your team.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive more into that, because that's awesome. I'm really glad you went in that direction. Denise, I saw your hand up. Do you still, and then you're I know it's loud in the background. Do you still want to share?
Yes. Okay. Well, this is the beauty of our business, is that we do get to rehire ourselves all the time. And as we grow in our knowledge of ourselves, then there are different things that we would hire ourselves for, or rehire ourselves for. And for me, it would be just being super clear about what it is that I want from life. And when I'm clear about what I want from life, then it creates clarity for me in this business. I'm reading this great book by Guy Hendricks. It's different than the other one that we're reading, but he asks if his life was successful on his deathbed. And if it wasn't, what were the things that were not successful? So that's kind of how I'm creating some of the clarity in what I want for my life. And the big one that came up today is that I realized that I am a workaholic, and that because I have a really good work ethic, when people ask me to do more, I take it on and I do it. And it's almost like a badge of honor that I wear. And so Kirsten and I were talking today about how we love how Teamsy, like utilizing Teamsy. So I think that would be the thing that I would say I would rehire myself with if I was to break it down. Teamsy allows you to do your power hour, put the time into your business that you have negotiated with yourself that you want to do for your business, and then it releases you when you've completed it to go do your other things, to go spend time with your family, to go volunteer, to go do whatever your other passions are. And so I would definitely rehire myself and utilize Teamsy from the beginning to organize me, to give me grace after, like, you've completed what you need to do. Now you can go be free instead of just grinding through.
So I'm hearing checklists with really specific to-do lists, and also getting really clear on why are we doing this in the first place? What is it that we're wanting to create in our lives? And of course, in my mind, I organize that in health, wealth, community, and self. And there's probably much, much more to that. And then self-exploration and boundary setting. I mean, nobody goes into the Juice Plus franchise full-time from the beginning. We all have lives. We all generally work other jobs. This is something we do on the side. We have families, we have marriages, we have personal life and hiking and hobbies and philanthropy. And so to be able to say, this is a compartmentalized amount of time that I'm going to dedicate to touching my Juice Plus business. And then I'm going to close that. And I'm going to set boundaries around my office hours, especially when it comes to working from home. I'm like you, Denise, I could work all the time. And it's always there. And so I have to really set boundaries for myself and office hours. And so that's awesome. Anybody else want to add anything?
And Teamsy really does that. I'm going to just plug one more time. It really gives you that structure.
Yes.
And freedom.
What I'm thinking is, now that you, Denise, and Kirsten are more embedded into this Teamsy bootcamp, maybe next Friday, if you'd be open to it, the two of you could take on the team call and really get into the nitty-gritty of, Teamsy 101. What does it look like? How do you use it for those that are unfamiliar or use it inconsistently? Yeah? Sweet. Okay, anybody else want to add anything? Shalene and Michael, you're tenured. And Kate wasn't on. She hopped off. I wonder if her internet's poor.
When Denise was talking, I just felt like that was so spot on. And I was definitely like, I really feel like as a new team member, like really getting clear with your why and like investigating and being as specific with that as possible and sharing that with upline and team members, I feel like feels really important to me, because then you can always go back there and people can always remind you, like, why are you doing this? What's the bigger vision? Or, that finding that why that makes you cry. I feel like that piece always like feels so important for me for starting. And then I love all the Teamsy stuff. I'm jealous that they're doing this boot camp. The next one's like in January, right?
The next one's in January, is that right? All right, we'll have to make sure that we're all more aware of it in advance. And, I love going back to the why that makes you cry, meaning the why, generally we'll say why we're doing this, but there's those layers of the onion. We have to pull back until we get to that why that you get goosebumps and you feel it in your heart. And that's when you go, oh, that's when my emotional pull is there. And if you go to the HEAT YouTube station, there's an awesome call that Lacey Daunt did that goes through that why exercise if you're ever looking for one. And I think the other thing is finding that why that ends up creating enough fire where you find yourself touching your business every day, or at least 5 days a week, right? So that you're at least setting aside that little bit of time, whatever amount of time it is that you've committed to yourself. Many, it's an hour a day for 5 days. Maybe it's more for you, maybe it's less. But whatever time commitment you've made to yourself based on what goals you're wanting to accomplish, we know that we've gotten to your why once you consistently do that. Every once in a while, there'll be someone that says they think they found their why, but then they're not actually doing the do. There's like the posers, the amateurs, and the professionals, right? In the Eric Worre book. For those of you that are hopping on those Monday Business Builder calls with Nikki Cotton, they're so good. And I know she's in Tanzania and Zanzibar now, so someone else is doing those calls for her on Monday. But it really goes through the fundamentals of getting into, Denise is doing it great. So really get into what is a poser, what's an amateur, what's a professional, meaning who are those people that spend a lot of time focusing on a why, but that why doesn't actually translate to activity that means we're out changing lives, talking to people, signing up customers, and attracting team members, versus just kind of like getting ready to get ready, or churning and maybe not really getting clear with that why. All right.
Mariah, can you elaborate on something just before we move on from this? For you personally, or just when you think of the why that makes you cry, like, is that a place of like your bigger goal and your life vision, or is it something like short term that you're pushing for, or like what specifically is that like sweet spot of like what we're looking for within our why?
Yeah, it's a good question. My guess is everyone on here would probably give a different answer, because we all have a different ingrained workhorse or busy bee or mama bee kind of personality. I'm one of those people where I really love working. I like it really motivates me. I love feeling like there's a mission that's going to add to the community that I serve. And I really, really deeply believe that everybody deserves more fruits and vegetables, especially when it's quality and wide variety. So part of my why is that simple. Like, I really, deep in my heart of hearts, believe that this is a gift. And if anybody swallows, they deserve to know about Juice Plus. And they deserve to be given the right education, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so that's part of my why. Then there's also, like, right now, very clearly, my family, my husband and I need health insurance. I want quality health insurance where we're not going to have to spend $1,600 a month on it. So that's part of my why, to get to NMD. Then there's the whys around, I've talked about the yellow brick road for the sake of team. Me accomplishing goals of my own, it's about creating that yellow brick road for you guys to follow, so that you have a pathway where you're like, I know her, she's close to me, and that becomes doable and tangible and close. And it's also for the sake of my children, for my children to see mom and dad achieving goals, doing the things that they say that they're doing, having gatherings where people are coming and they ask, Mom, that person's sick, they need Juice Plus, can you talk to them about it? And when they see mom and dad come home and go, guess what? There's a new team member that came in, and listen to this story, you guys, of this life that was impacted. This woman right now that I met in the Seattle airport, and she's a survivor of breast cancer, and she's in tears, and she's never been told any other option other than radiation and chemo. And she's an absolute crying, blubbering mess. And I have given her hope with the possibility of plants, and it gives me chills. That's part of my why. I get goosebumps when I say that. And when I've found sideline buddies that are cancer survivors through Juice Plus, Courtney, who went from stage 4 cancer, her oncologist telling her, you no longer even qualify for chemo. We have to put you on palliative care, and you have 2 little babies. And then the head oncologist at MD Anderson came to her and said, you know what? I've made a mistake. I just found out about this new stuff called Juice Plus. We're doing a research trial, and I think I made a mistake, and I think you should be on it. And guess what? After 10 weeks of Juice Plus, she didn't feel any different, but her lab values shifted such that she was once again able to go back on chemo. And now she's 9 years cancer-free, going from stage 4 ovarian cancer. And that journey, that simple thing of her head oncologist at MD Anderson suggesting Juice Plus, planting the seed for food as medicine. And now she's cancer-free. Her kids she's been alive for her 2 children. And now she's doing a call with me, with this woman that I know. She has no financial tie with me. We are friends, and we are on a mission. And now I have this new team member and customer who has hope in her life. That's part of my why. So you guys, it has all different levels. It's a why around finances, yes. It's a why around all of you guys and my community, and watching you guys. It makes me want to cry. Like when you guys walk the stage at conference, it is so fulfilling. when you guys come to me and talk about major breakthroughs in your personal development and watching you grow, it's all of it. All right. You got me going. Okay. So we were gonna, does that help, Shelley? I see a couple things in the chat. Anything else anybody wants to add? Okay. So let's get some nuts and bolts. Let's share some screens. All right, here we go. Share screen. So when it comes to, well, let me, okay, wait a minute. When it comes to just looking at the nuts and bolts of you're new, let's look at what the virtual office is now and where do you start? And that's the same for when you attract a new team member, where do they start? So when you go to your virtual office, I don't know if anybody has seen it. It's new and purple and pretty. They've started making some of the little changes. But one of the big things is right away when you log in, you have your business alerts. That's always nice to check because it's going to tell you if you have customers shipping. It's going to tell you if you have any team members that are close to promotions. But also right up here, the Freedom Revolution is now right here. So if you click on Freedom Revolution, as a reminder, this is a nice place initially to watch videos around the business. As you're interacting with people, maybe there's a professional or a parent or an athlete. This is just kind of stories that you can always copy and paste these links and share. But really what I wanted to start with is this getting started. So you just click on getting started. And then if it asks you for the password is revolution. So then you come in here and it's so ironic because it's exactly what you guys talked about. You know, Shelley and Denise, your questions were around casting vision and getting clear with your why. For those of you that don't know Lauren Lahav, she toured with Tony Robbins for I think close to 25 years. She has one of the largest organizations. She's like all the bigwigs in Australia and New Zealand are in her organization, but she lives in Las Vegas. She really goes into casting your vision. And then the next step is making your list. So now we get into, Kirsten, what you were saying is you want a checklist, all right? So at the very top, you can download your starter guide. So there's your checklist for the US, a checklist for Canada. And then when you have your checklist in front of you, you can go through here. Your memory jogger, this is every week that I say I'm rehiring myself, this is where I start. You can do directly into Teamsy is where your memory jogger can go. If you're a paper person, you just click on this memory jogger. You can download the file to your computer. It goes through, you know, is this person red, yellow, or green in regard to kind of where you see them in how you'll be communicating with them. And you're just going to write down names of everybody that you know, right? And there's pages upon pages. And then who do you know? You can look at this. And this is a way to kind of jog your memory. Because here's the deal. The moment you think of your hairdresser, then you're going to go, oh yeah, and there was that other hairdresser when I lived in Canada. And oh yeah, remember when I was in Canada, I was getting my hair cut that time and I met that friend who da-da-da-da-da. And oh, that friend, she lives in Massachusetts and I forgot all about my cousin in Massachusetts. So all you're doing is this is a place to go to jog your memory. And in the memory jogger's role is to simply unload any name that's in your brain. It's not about if you think they have money or they don't have money. It's not about if you think they are open to health or they're not open to health. No, it's just unloading people that you know. And when those people are unloaded, there's more space in your brain for others. And next thing you know, you've got hundreds on your list of just that memory jogger, right? And the memory jogger's role, you can watch this. And your memory jogger's role that I use it for is when I have that chunk of time that's in my calendar where I'm like, okay, I'm going to just reach out to some people. I have that list right in front of me of people that I'm going to reach out to. And maybe I've starred the ones that are really top priority. In Teamsy, you can rank them, you sort them with a number based on priority. And the thing I want to remind everybody is we always go back to the 80-20 rule, meaning when we are communicating with people, our job is relationships. So 80% of our communication is always relationship building. If you go back through a text thread and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just hounding them with Juice Plus stuff, stop. Check in with them. How are you doing? How's your sick dog? Want to meet for tea? Make sure that 80% of the communication is always loving and relationship building. And then we go into sharing your product story. This is very important because as we're communicating with people, we need to get clear on what our story is. And it really needs to be about a minute, okay? It shouldn't be a super long story. It's simple and it's doable and relatable for everyone. And then you keep going down, sharing your business story, the importance of events, effective inviting, social media success. If you want to start in social media, here's some posting examples. And you can go into the gallery and you can literally hop on this on your phone, go into the gallery and simply copy and paste. And you've got images that you can just grab. Okay, so here's where we go to getting started. And we're not going to throw all this at a new person right away. Yeah, if somebody's new, within 48 hours, the first thing is you do their welcome call with your upline national marketing director. Right now, that's Chris and Nikki. Pretty soon it will be Michael or I, and then you'll have all four of us. And then ideally you have somebody set up their Voxer and you set up a Voxer chat and you're really clear with them. That's where all communication goes. Especially for me, I don't know about you guys, in the world of boundary setting, many of my good friends are team members. And so I work really hard to compartmentalize and set boundaries. And so for me, what works is if we're communicating as friends, it's on text message. And if we're communicating around business, it's on Voxer. And I do the same thing with my husband. You know, Michael and I have had to set boundaries. You know what? If we're going to talk business, we'll take it to Voxer. So that way it's not being infused into our marriage all the time. And the Voxer chat, the beauty of it is every new person has their team Voxer chat. So if Patty leaves a message and she's a morning person and she's up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and Michael or Chris, or probably not Chris, if Michael or Nikki happen to be awake and ready to check that and answer that question at that time, they get to work in their own hours. For me, my office hours often are more like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So I'm going to be the one that's going to be checking that message during that time and responding. Or I'm home with the kids all day and there's a 2-minute chunk of time where I think that they're entertained and they're quiet. And I'll respond to a Voxer message then. But the beauty of it is we all get to work in the timing that is right for us. And we all get the support. So as you are attracting team members, that team Voxer chat, they automatically get you and your entire upline. And so that is the best place to encourage as much banter as possible. All questions are possible, okay? So we have the welcome call, we have the Voxer chat, and then we have that getting started place. For some people, they're super self-motivated. They're going to go on. They're going to go through the whole thing on their own, okay? For others, they want more baby steps, or maybe they don't want to do it on the computer. They'd rather do it another way. I think what's most important is that we keep it simple and we do it step by step. Our job is not to give people homework. Our job, once again, like Denise and Shalene said, is finding what inspires them and how do they work. And then what is the number one skill, the number one business building activity that any of us could do? Anybody want to answer that?
Talk to people.
Talk to people. And Patty, what did you say?
Relationship building. Yeah, talk to people.
Yeah. So
Ask questions.
Yeah, asking questions. Exactly. Asking questions, building relationships, talking to people. I'm going to add talking to people, and I'm going to add talking to people. Really what we do. We talk to people. We get out of the house and we go to the park and we go wine tasting and we go to the parade and we interact with people and we ask them questions. Our job is not to go, hey, you over there, more fruits and vegetables. Can I tell you about Juice Plus? No, it's, hi, how are you? What makes you tick? What's going on in your life? Like when I met that woman in the Seattle airport, she had her hoodie on and she looked like she was shivering. I said, you look like you're cold. Are you okay? And I was genuinely concerned. No, I'm not okay. I feel like trash. Well, why? What's going on? I have no idea if you'd be open, but I have a solution possibly. Would you be open to learning more? And it's simply reminding ourselves that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And so if there's a moment where you're like, they're not responding, well, what have you sent them? When you look back at it, does it feel as though it is in response to something that they have asked for? Because just like Denise started with, what is our why and why are we doing this? Are we clear with their why as potential customers and what they're looking for? And if we continue to ask questions, and because the moment somebody says it's too expensive, I know that I did not get clear with what it was they were looking for, and I did not get clear with I did not do a good job at helping them understand what it is. Because come on, you guys, anybody who understands what this is, price is not a factor. Go take $3 to the grocery store and tell me how many fruits, vegetables, and berries you can buy. And are they vine ripened, and are they toxin free? No. Do they understand the value of a wide variety of plants every day, right? Okay, we're at 45 after, and I've talked a lot. Anything, questions, anything someone wants to ask?
Real quick, thank you for covering the flow on this, the 3 steps, and sending me to the virtual office. Thank you. I seem to have missed that part. I wanted to jump in.
Well, it's just recently they've added the Freedom Revolution to the virtual office. And I think it's important that we always go back to these nuts and bolts.
Yes.
So yeah,
digging it.
in your virtual office, you go to that Freedom Revolution and get started, and you can pace yourself. And as you do steps, go on your Voxer chat and say, wow.
Hey, wowee. Great call today. Thank you, Raya.
The one, we don't have time, but the one other thing if I had time is our Shred 10 starts on Monday. For some of you.
Oh, I started today.
Oh, cool.
I did. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes. Today's the 1st, right?
Yeah. So it always starts the 1st Monday of the month. And
okay.
You're welcome to do it. I mean, when I started shredding, I pretty much never stopped, and it's 3 years down the road now. But for those 10 very deliberate days, it starts on a Monday, so that way people only have to go through one weekend. And the Facebook event is being created, so I'll add all of you to the Facebook event, and you can add any of your customers that are shredding. And well, I'm going to just share this really quick. If you have to go, I get it. But I think that this is important in the conversation of the shred, just to make sure for those of you that are shredding for your first time, where did I put it? Okay, I want to make sure everybody's clear with healthylivingrevolution.com. This is a website you can send to any prospects, any customers. These webinars, you guys, are absolutely spectacular. I went to a 3-year master's degree at Yale, and I did not get this type of education. If you go into previous episodes, just scroll through the topics. They're amazing. And anyone you're talking to, someone who's worried about cardiovascular disease, someone who has a young child, an athlete, you can just copy and paste this link and send it to them after you've asked them if they're open to watching it. But what I wanted to show you guys is if you scroll down to the very bottom, and I have to move this out of the way, and you click on this little cog wheel, and then the password is revolution. This is the back office. So this is the place just for distributors. And so you guys are distributors, but you're also maybe doing your first shred. So here's all the great images for your social media posts. You're always welcome to use these. But if you go to Shred 10, this is where you're going to have just a wealth of information. You guys, the system guide for how you're supporting your customers, the shred guide for what are the nuts and bolts of the shred. Download this and look through this if it's your first shred. This cookbook is spectacular. And anyone you have that's a customer that's shredding, you get to send them this cookbook. And it's just a digital version. You're ever doing a Shred 10 presentation, you've got that. Here's the order form. Here's the tracker sheets, your customer profile, your daily checklist, your 4-month tracker that you can use yourself and you can also share with your customers. And then videos like you can't imagine. For those that are wanting to know, just for men that are wanting to learn about shredding, how to prepare, planning ahead, mindfulness, eating out, exercise, why are we taking out alcohol, why are we taking out caffeine. So it's all written in the shred guide, and it's also in video form based on how people like to learn. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that everybody's familiar with that. And then if you're on just the homepage, just as a reminder, there's the Start Strong program, which has all sorts of fun resources, so they start to get excited about health and nutrition. And then there's also so there's a Start Strong Kids, Start Strong YouTube. Here it is. The home fitness series. There's a whole home fitness series with free workouts if you're looking for it. Okay.
Wow.
I'll stop. I just wanted to make sure that the new people.
Bravo. High five. That was good. That was perfect. Just enough information for me.
Yay. Okay.